Saturday midday matcha, Mr. David. This was bound to happen. We can. I think is there a specialty store in Indiana? Do you think you should shoot down?
Good morning, Mully.
Scout potential stadium.
Happy
site?
Thursday. Yeah, what a story yesterday.
Wow.
I'm not sure about whether they're looking for the matcha, but I do think the Bears are still looking for a new home. And that's the big news today. A couple days before the biggest regular season game at Soldier Field in years, the quest for a new stadium has taken over in terms of the biggest headline today. So we're going to balance both, looking at the Packers and looking at the leverage play that came out yesterday afternoon.
What I believe it was, there was a direct statement that it's not a ploy.
Open letter that this is not leverage. Open letter from Kevin Warren to Bears fans, and it reveals that they're still looking to build a new stadium, setting their sights now in Northwest Indiana, away from Arlington Heights for the moment, but this is the third new destination that they're seeking, and this is the third time where they've made that announcement with some peculiar timing.
Yeah, I think the obvious solution to all of this would be to create a landfill within the lake itself and have a floating stadium. I think we've heard that before. And
Dustin is
vindicated. That's your plan, right?
Vindication for Dustin.
It's not the first time there's been one of these, but I might have stumbled into something else, Mully.
Well, had you called a press conference to announce that idea a couple days before the biggest game the Bears have played at Soldier Field in years, then I think you might have been subjecting yourself to the same kind of scrutiny and ridicule that Kevin Warren did yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Well, I usually schedule my press conference at about 6 a.m. during the Pick Six, David. That's when I hold my press conferences.
What was interesting, I don't know if anybody bothered, but underneath this, they put this statement, this is Kevin Warren's open letter to the fans. They put that out on X or Twitter or whatever way you want to describe it. And there were comments underneath it, and oh boy, not everybody is on board, I would say.
Well, I'm not sure anybody is on board. There's not a big appetite for this kind of conversation at this time in the football season. And frankly, this could be the middle of April, and the idea that the Bears would leave Chicago for the region, essentially, I don't think would be met with very many open arms or comments.
That was
receptive
comments.
Proposal
in 95?
95, yeah.
Gary?
Mm-hmm. It was Gary Bears proposed. They did that, and I think back then.
These are more the Hammond Bears? Is that?
I think Hammond is more of at the forefront here.
Okay.
There's not one site that is being targeted necessarily.
Just not Michael Reeves Hospital.
It's too narrow of a strip, apparently. Yeah. But yeah, the Hammond Bears, the mayor, Thomas McDermott, there is involved in
he's in charge of the building a stadium project.
Northwest Indiana Professional Sports Development Commission formed with this idea in mind, to lure professional sports organizations to Indiana in general and the region specifically. So this is part of that endeavor, and the governor's already releasing statements and was more than happy to tell the Chicago Tribune that there's plenty of room in the region for the Bears. So
would there be a special once a year meeting between the Bears and Colts?
A nice little interstate rivalry. Yeah, right. A rematch of the Super Bowl. Governor Mike Brown would love that. Although there are some very is it that Mike Brown? No, not Braun, but
damn,
not the one who
I thought.
Yeah, number 30.
Yeah,
no, not him.
That would have been awesome.
That would be him. That would be awesome. Getting all kinds of the East Chicago Bears, the Dyer Bears. There are a lot of possibilities because there's a lot of land there, and they haven't picked any specific place, but they are willing to try. And Kevin Warren is hopeful that they will listen because he needs an alternative. He's not able to. It comes down to there are a lot of things, and we're going to talk to Mark Gannis at 8:25 and Big Z at 7, and all this stuff throughout the day, Mully, and we'll get a lot of reaction. But it comes down to this. To me, Kevin Warren was hired 3 years ago
for one reason:
to strike a deal.
That's why he was brought in.
To make a stadium project work.
Yes.
So far, there is no deal, and it isn't working. And if you're the McCaskies, time is money. And both are being wasted.
How long ago did they buy Arlington Park when they?
It was I believe 4 years ago.
It was before
it predated Kevin Warren's arrival.
Yes.
And it was something that was done with the idea that, all right, I believe that was Ted Phillips' idea, maybe his
baby.
If you want to go to, whatever, however you want to describe it.
Project.
Ted Phillips was the impetus behind the Bears buying that land in Arlington Heights.
Right.
And eyeing the stadium project where they would what? Own the stadium.
That's the idea.
And essentially print the money.
And they would,
in the NFL, that's what happens.
They would own a dome stadium, their own version of Jerry's World. They could do whatever they wanted in it in the off season, and they would get that revenue too.
Yes.
So it would be a year-round moneymaker that they would pay for, and that the government would help out with, but it would be a private entity. And then that changed.
Well, that changed when Ted Phillips left.
Ted Phillips left. Kevin Warren is hired effectively because of his work in Minneapolis to put up their glass dome stadium.
Beautiful stadium in downtown Minneapolis.
Yes.
This state-of-the-art U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yes.
And there were some complications there with working deals with local and state politicians.
That's right.
And legislatures. So that was the way that they navigated that with the Vikings. You thought, in theory, that Kevin Warren was going to be able to do that here in Chicago with the Bears.
Right.
That has not been the case.
That's not been.
There's been an element of naivete too that I think he has shown that I have been very surprised by.
He decided that Chicago has been, the lakefront has been kissed by God, and that's where the dome should go.
That was the early impression by Kevin Warren. He fell in love with
downtown
the idea
Chicago
of the lakefront.
Yes.
And they, if you remember, had a big presentation, dog and pony show, some people have called it.
They had a nice prayer ceremony.
Well, they could have used a prayer yesterday.
But they had one in that meeting, didn't
they? Did.
Wasn't
they
that
did.
One of the big...
back up, days before they drafted Caleb Williams, one of the most monumental drafts in Bears history, they distracted the fan base again by having the presentation at Soldier Field to say, hey, what about this? What about here?
Brandon Johnson was front and center with that, and then it turned out he didn't have the power to do anything.
Well, the alignment with Brandon Johnson seems calculated in retrospect because he doesn't have the power that is necessary to make anything happen with the Bears in Arlington Heights or anywhere.
It seemed like, in retrospect, that was an error, frankly.
The alignment?
Just because there was nothing he could do about it.
That goes to what I think was a little naive going into this.
With Kevin Warren.
So that was before the 2024 draft. And then you fast forward, I think days before this season began, there was a letter about, hey, we love Arlington Heights. It makes sense. They got a new mayor. We're going to go there.
They're going to give us the tax break that we're looking for.
We're compromising.
We got to have you compromise on this tax issue. We need a long-term tax understanding so it isn't raised, and they gave them a temporary tax thing, and that was moving forward, right?
That was moving forward.
But the state doesn't have any money to put in.
Well, the state doesn't have the money.
Infrastructure they're looking for.
The infrastructure is where I'm perceived to be. You talk to people around it. That's where there is the holdup here. This tax certainty the Bears seek is not what they're willing to budge on.
Yeah.
That might be a negotiating point in all of this. Maybe that's what part of this leverage play, my interpretation of it is. Maybe that's where it comes in. But I don't know that it's a deal that can't be made. It just hasn't so far. And you wonder.
And as the delays were going on, we had a chance to talk to Mark Gannis. And Mark is the guy that raised the specter of Northwest Indiana, that this could be a place. Well, let's take a listen.
It may not be the only option that remains. Listen, Governor Pritzker is acting like there isn't a state just a few minutes away that has legislation that wants to try and to bring the Bears to Northwest Indiana. He's acting like he's the only game in town.
Well,
that was the first I started.
That was that came across as a veiled threat whenever that was made, and that was August 1st, and I think at the time there was little reason to take that seriously, to be honest. because you felt like they were making progress
Right.
based on all reports with the Arlington Heights and the tax certainty. And you had the element of time that, we got 4 months to go in the calendar year. There's a legislative session ahead, and there's work to be done and a deal to be made.
It was August 12th, not the 1st.
Okay.
It was later.
Nonetheless, in August.
That's in August.
You got plenty of time. But Mark Gannis is well aware of the fact that,
Sure.
Meanwhile, as we alluded to earlier, the state of Indiana was looking at this impasse as an opportunity.
Yes.
And there were committees being formed, politicians getting excited, and as I alluded to, the Indiana Professional Sports Development Commission coming together and eyeing the Bears.
Right.
Because of, I don't need to explain why. In Northwest Indiana, you have casinos that are there. You have a proximity that is close. And aside from everything else, Mully.
But a Northwest Indiana site is closer to Soldier Field than Arlington.
Yes, that's the thing that I think is worth reinforcing. I mean, it'd be easier to get to for a lot of people than Arlington Heights would. Not that makes it any more palatable or any more sensible, but it is geographically feasible. It's closer. It's closer.
It's so funny. People have been texting and going crazy.
I know.
I'm showing you a drawing of the Bears stadium that they had talked about, superimposed over the closed down factories right across the
Whiting,
border.
Yes, in East Chicago.
Yes.
And I've heard all the jokes. The region, the Bears, and get ready for the monsters of the Midway.
Wow.
All kinds of possibilities.
There's a lot of jokes.
Yeah, there are. Unfortunately, it's an idea that many will mock. And because of the timing, because of the transparency, it seems like it is a leverage ploy. And I don't know that it is. And I'm sure that people will push back at that notion.
So if it's not a leverage ploy, as Kevin Warren has said, is it then a negotiating tactic?
I think it's probably a more apt way to put it.
I'm just saying. That's got to be the same thing. It's just stated more pleasantly.
Stated more pleasantly. And I think, though, what you do is, you run the risk of alienating the other side of the aisle.
This isn't going over well.
A startling slap in the face is the way the governor's spokesman described it, and Governor Pritzker, that is.
Wow.
And he does not like the implication here. He doesn't like the reality of the Bears in December having this still as revealing it as an option. And revealing is maybe the wrong word. You're right. They have been talking about this for some time. But when you go public to this degree, it makes it seem more real.
I know this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, but I believe, this is just my viewpoint, that Kevin Warren, this letter to the fans, is Kevin Warren trying to get ahead of this story. It's not him trying to steal any glory from the Packers-Bears game. I think that somebody, everybody wants to know what's going on with the stadium. And the guy is on the record as saying that shovels have to be in the ground before January 1st. It's December 18th.
Well, Molly,
people are looking at what's going on. When do the shovels go in? Someone got wind of this story, and he must have been asked about it. The Tribune came out with an excellent, wide-ranging story about, I don't know, 5-7 minutes after this.
Yeah, it was a well-executed story.
Yes.
That I know for a fact has been in the works for a while. Proud of my former employer there. They did a nice job here.
They did a great job, and they were ready for this story, which means they went to him to get either verification or get whatever it was. And so he comes out with it. I think the timing of this isn't so much about the Green Bay Bears game or stealing any attention or the Bears doing well on the field. I think this has been going on for a while, as we talked about. Mark Gannis brought it up with us on August 12th. And I think they've been pursuing the story, as you're supposed to do as journalists. And that's why the timing of the story is such. If you want to make fun of the president of the Bears, or if you want to make fun of the timing of the story, feel free. Everybody have a laugh. But the reality is, I'm sure that there is a reason for the timing of this thing, and it probably is this story was ready to go.
I suspect you're right. And actually, I think that's a really fair point to make, honestly.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, you look at it and
we did this for a living. We know how these things
we know
are
how
done.
these work.
You know how long it takes to get somebody on the horn?
They've got comments from the Hammond mayor,
Yes.
from the Indiana governor,
Yes.
from the Illinois governor,
Yes.
from the Bears. You don't do this in an afternoon.
No,
this is something that takes weeks, frankly.
You. Yeah, it
so
takes
that's
a
a
while.
very good thing, big thing to remember here. Here's the thing that I would just add to that, because you're exactly right. Kevin Warren, when brought here, and this is what I think you can be critical of, and frankly, this is where I come in as being critical.
Sure.
He was hired here to control the message, not only the project, but control the message. And he lost control of that.
Well,
this is clumsy that he let this get to this point.
And George has said we have not explained when they were running afoul of issues with the Illinois government. George was the one who kind of conceded that they had made an error, and that I don't think Kevin had admitted that at all. And I mean, say what you want about Kevin Warren. He's the guy that oversaw the hiring of Ben Johnson. So I don't want to take too many shots at the guy or make fun of everything, but it's a really difficult process to get going. You feel like they wasted a year, though, messing around with trying to do something downtown.
There are two
which
different.
was never going to happen.
There are two different sides piles on his desk.
Yes.
One is how can I greenlight things to fix the football part of this? Oh, I'm going to increase our budget. We're going to be able to afford the best coach on the market. Hey, congratulations, Kevin. That was really smart.
That was well done.
And then the other side of the desk is the pile, and it's messy, and it's cluttered, and it's confusing, and it's the stadium project.
And there's flies
and
buzzing around.
there's like, okay, there's the lakefront project. Oh, that looks tattered. Oh, there's the Arlington Heights deal.
Oh.
And then, oh, yeah, in this drawer, oh, yeah, I remember the region. Yes, well, let's pull that out.
See, now that's where this is, I will say, a desperation ploy because of what's going on with the problems you're having getting the building up in Arlington Heights, which you probably thought, all right, we'll get away from the lakefront. We won't mess with Friends of the Park. We won't try to put a casino and a hotel there. We got all this land.
We got all this land.
There. How much you want in taxes?
But they own the land. They bought the property, and now they have to deal with those realities, because when you pay $197 million, $200 million, 5 years ago now it seems,
I know,
for 326 acres, you have
that are sitting there.
You have
they did
that
tear down the racetrack.
And here's the other reason why we talk about whether it's politicians or sports executives, why people stay away from setting deadlines. Because when Kevin Warren said that the shovels will be in the ground by the end of 2025, we pounce on that every time we talk about this.
And you know what? But the point he was making as to why they had to be in the ground is the price of everything is going up. And the building itself and doing that work has the ticker has been going upward, and the price of it nothing's getting cheaper. It's not like the tariffs that are out there are making it easier to build a stadium.
It's more difficult than ever.
Much steel.
It's more expensive than ever.
Right.
And yet people don't want to hear that, because they do see, and we do this all the time.
Yep.
We will refer to the Bears today many times as a $6 billion enterprise.
No question.
And when you are a $6 billion enterprise, the idea of balking at a stadium project because you're not getting tax certainty is absurd to many people and not relatable.
And I mean, the reality of life is that there are a select number of people that could afford to build their own stadium, cover their own expenses, and really cash in on every dollar that comes out of it. And I don't believe the Bears are among that group. So then the reaction becomes, we'll sell to someone else. Bring in the guy from Amazon. Let him buy
Jeffrey Bezos to come in here and finance the stadium project. Are there any more Ishbias left?
I don't know that they're that well.
I'm just saying. But no, I know what you mean. I'm being facetious.
I know you are. But I think there's a lot of that tied to this, because there is very little acknowledgement or sympathy, let's put it that way, toward $1 billion industry that has to spend another billion. You're worth $6 billion. You'll be worth 12 if you build your own building. And it is just a very difficult thing. It's like a Monopoly game. It's very difficult to really understand what it's like to build something like this, to spend that kind of money, to invest in that fashion. If you don't have the money to do it, then get out and let someone who has the money do it.
And I would like for maybe just once, Kevin Warren, when he talks about the stadium project publicly and takes questions, or he's been in the studio talking about it, to express a level of concern that he never seems to have.
No.
Or a level of just be straight with us in terms of it doesn't always have to be a happy face you put on everything. It doesn't have to be, in January, last January, everything is where you wanted it to be. Well, apparently it wasn't, and it's not, and it's not happening. So let's be honest about what's going on here, and don't wait for a Tribune story and investigation to compel you to have your timing compromised. The Bears did not want this to be out this week.
No. And I think that's what we're both acknowledging and trying to throw a bone their way about it, because that seems to be one of the things that I've heard. Like, why would they do this week? Why couldn't they wait? Well, I think the timing of it was such that the story was breaking and they wanted to get ahead of it.
And I think we both would recognize, and people may disagree, but this will have nothing to do with the football game Saturday night.
No, you wouldn't think so.
This will have nothing to do with the focus.
There will be a lot of wise guy remarks about it.
Of course.
One way or another.
Of course. If the Bears get beat 25...
we may be making some of them over the next...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of it, too. That's the risk of being clumsy.
Yeah.
You have to face the consequences. And if the Bears lose on Saturday night, somebody will believe that their week was interrupted, the progress and momentum was stalled by having to address this. Hell, Saul, you think Ben Johnson's not going to be asked about this?
No, he's not. Ben Johnson's, he's got to worry about the football. He's not worried about the stadium.
But he'll be asked about the stadium.
Oh, he'll be asked about everything connected to the Bears.
Maybe they should put him in charge of the project.
He could do the math. Ben could create an app.
He's a math major.
That would,
Can you bring his dad and get him involved? Wasn't he a math teacher too?
I mean, Ben can make an app that will explain to everyone what they need to do to get the stadium built.
Good, better, best.
And where you can do it. Well, that's the other thing. Kevin Warren is front and center in the good, better, best. He's always there. It seems like that is kind of what he does more than get the stadium built. And that's being mean, but I heard that from friends yesterday.
Let's just agree on this. The optics for this, whether it's what you just referred to or the open letter yesterday, the optics on this stadium project, the optics for Kevin Warren, not good.